Welcome all from the Cinema Psycho Show. This is a little bit of a different kind of format here. First of all, everybody? What's happening? Who is that?
Hi.
It's Laine.
She's back.
It's Laine. She's back.
I'm back. I missed you guys.
Missed you. And you're in a video box.
Yeah.
Or at least for our YouTube folks. Our YouTube folks are going to get the benefit of some video action.
It's true. Everyone just listening, it's the same old, same old.
Same old, same old.
I missed you all just as much, especially you, reviewer, who wanted to voice bang me. I've thought of you at least once a week.
Just once a week. Any more than that, and it becomes dirty.
Once a week's a lot. That is a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah, so welcome back, Laine.
Thanks.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
We've got a brand new type of format that I want to try out, and this was something that Laine and I had talked about for a while, and something that we're very passionate about. We, as much as we love movies, and we do love movies,
we do
a lot. We wanted to try something different, at least to kind of give a little bit of an extra content for you all, and that is to talk about stuff that is on all of the streaming platforms that are out there. And we're not just talking about movies; we're talking about TV shows. This first episode, of course, we have to hit what I would consider one of the best TV shows right now when it comes to Marvel, and as of course Loki. So we're calling this Cinema Psycho Show presents From the Concession Stand.
Also, I feel passionate about snacks, so
yeah,
I feel a good fit. I have really good hacks for you guys. Fun fact: at a movie theater, a beer is usually cheaper than a small soda.
You told me that one time. You told me
welcome.
that. You said that always get the beer, don't ever get the soda. So
no, it's stupid.
Makes sense.
But I get the beer.
So yeah, with this inaugural episode, again, this is going to be something that will be on our normal RSS feed that goes out on our podcast. You'll get the audio version, and then as always, we're going to do this video thing too, which we really haven't played around with video. But the thing is, like, I look at YouTube, our analytics, and we actually have people who subscribe to us. And I feel kind of bad that all they're getting is a bunch of still images with us talking. So
now they fidget. So great.
Yeah, I know, right?
I sit office chair cross-legged like an infant. So yay. I'm really excited for you guys that you get to experience this with me. So
yeah. So we're not entirely sure how this format's going to go. We really just kind of have the idea. We want to try to roll with it. We might include, of course, obviously, concession stand hacks. I think that has to be in there. But, this would also be a good thing to, get feedback from you all. If you have questions for us, questions about the show, movies that you really want our opinion on that maybe don't necessarily fit with kind of our regular, weekly show that we put out, this is a great forum for that.
Or shows that you guys are curious about. It's a really awesome format for this for me because I've always loved shows. Yeah. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. When I was younger, I wanted to be a showrunner. Joss Whedon was a big hero of mine growing up.
Yeah.
Then he turned out a massive piece of shit. Yay. Yeah. Don't have heroes, kids. They'll disappoint you.
Yeah. Don't meet your heroes, folks. Tom Savini. So
Brian, missed you.
I know. It wouldn't be an episode if I didn't get a dig in at old Tommy boy. So
you can't be alone in a room with a 15-year-old. So
yeah,
it's just hard.
Yeah. So speaking about Marvel people or people who formerly did Marvel stuff, we've got Loki.
Loki. Oh my gosh. So okay. I feel like we need to talk about a little bit of all of the Marvel shows.
Yeah.
Because so we're still in a pandemic world ish. But
despite some people's belief. Yeah.
I mean, things are just weird. We're just making it up now, and like it's an honor system now, and like that's garbage. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. I don't buy the honor system. I'm like, no, but I'm still wearing the same mask, man. Like
everything's fine. I'm so over all of humanity that it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Whatever.
It's fine.
But what has been nice though is that there's been new shows that have come out every week that have kind of like kept me on my sanity. Though I was really resistant to WandaVision, and I don't know why. I didn't watch it until they were all out.
See, Lauren and I loved WandaVision.
Okay, and
loved it.
And for some reason, I was just this stubborn asshole. I have Disney Plus. I've had it for ages. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh, everybody's watching it. Everybody loves it. I'm not going to watch it.
You went full 2000s emo is what you're saying.
I mean, I just was like, you know what? I don't want joy. I don't want anything good right now. I was like, I'm good. Well, and two, like, I think one of the things that's been bothering me with the pandemic is like, I do have a really hard time sitting still.
Yeah.
I have a hard time not being on my phone. I'm obsessed with TikTok now. It's a problem. How cute.
See, now you all can see the weird faces that I make when things like Laine says, like, I'm obsessed with TikTok.
You can see the judging.
You can see the judging.
And you can see the soul that left his eyes just for a second when I said I like TikTok.
And let me get it. There we go. Back in.
But so I have a hard time sitting still. So that was kind of part of it as well. But mostly I was being an asshole. And I was like, everybody loves it. It's so stupid. But then I binged it when it was all, available, cried like a baby because like some of the, the harder hitting parts were just emotional and amazing. And of course, loving television like I do. Mm-hmm. So many of the things, I mean, just down to the first episode when they, do the Marvel intro and it goes from stereo to mono.
Yes.
Come on. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like the detail, they didn't miss anything.
No.
So
it was refreshing. It was honestly refreshing. So like for me, I had watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I had also watched Agent Carter. I know you and I both really liked Agent Carter.
Canceled. That was bullshit.
It was bullshit.
So good.
So I was already used to a lot of what, was being offered in the name of Marvel on television.
Mm-hmm. And then money. They had Disney money.
They did. They didn't have any money. But now, of course, it's Disney money, and Disney money, it spends a lot and gets
never ending wallet.
It's a massive wallet. So it was always going to be curious, like, okay, how are they going to take what they've done with film and kind of make it work for TV? And I'll be honest with you, I have been pleasantly surprised with what I've seen. It's almost like we're watching, a new Marvel film every week.
I think some of the content is truly better than the movies, because I think too, when you think about how the writing is broken down into these episodes, I think that the story comes through better, and it is longer format. If you look at the whole thing, now I feel like WandaVision doesn't start really until maybe episode 4 with the actual story arc. So we go, and I think that that's why it's longer, because WandaVision's 9 episodes, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki are both 6 apiece. Yeah. And I think that's why WandaVision's the 9 episodes that it is, because the plot doesn't really kick in until episode 4. But when you have that much time, I think the storytelling can breathe a little bit. People can stick with it for longer. It's not just sitting down with a movie where you do have maybe some problems with storytelling or with the plot points or something like that.
No, I agree.
Big difference. And I've talked to people, that are, binging it or watching it week by week, like we are, and, think that the content is better. And I have to agree.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with WandaVision. I also really did like Falcon and Winter Soldier, mostly for Sebastian Stan reasons. I mean, he is so dorky in some of those movies, and he is not dorky anymore. Like, what happened? There's like, you don't know this, Brian, because you're not on TikTok, but there's there's a TikTok trend where it's, how does this? And it's like all these like dorky pictures of somebody, and this more dorky pictures become this, and then it shows them like as a total smoke show. And like Sebastian Stan embodies that. Like he did this shoot, I think it was for Men's Health.
Yeah.
It's not right. It's not okay.
It's not okay.
Not okay with me. But
it's the whole thing of that kid was probably made fun of in high school for being the dorky kid, and he became the smoke show.
he's handsome enough in Captain America, which the first Captain America is one of my favorite Marvel movies. But he looks goofy when the hair's long. Like in the first Avengers Infinity War. He's goofy. He's goofy looking. Like when he has the long hair, he's in Wakanda. Like he does not look good. But anyway, sorry, I blacked out for a second.
You went down a dark fantasy.
Is meaner, I think, because of just the content and because of the subject matter and everything. But I thought it was still rather satisfying. I think I was in the mood for more of like the action base that it was.
Yeah.
And I thought that they did a great job with it.
No, I know Lauren didn't care for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I liked it because it just felt to me like a legit Marvel film. Like it felt like you're getting the continuation of, basically at the end of Endgame. And it's kind of, for me, I was like, where do you go from here? And
continuation of the plot in a way that WandaVision really is stuck in one place.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So it was interesting that this show brought up a lot of issues when it comes to, I'd say an idealized version of America that people seem to have in their head, but then also fail to look at the nasty bits. And when I say nasty bits, I mean, there's a lot of nasty shit in our history. And I think Falcon and Winter Soldier does a really good job of presenting that in a way that doesn't feel, at least to me, it doesn't feel preachy. It feels like it's thoughtfully put in there as, hey, this is definitely about superheroes and fictional characters, but it does speak to a lot of things that actually did happen.
I agree.
In the history of this country. So I liked that. And I think that it was also came out at a moment that made sense, in our culture. So
yeah. And you'll hear me do this a lot because I love television. It was so nice to see Carl Lumley in something. Carl Lumley. I'm not really sure how he says his last name. But he was in Alias for years. And he's terrific. And honestly, he was great in Alias, but he was so good in this. And I think that they did something to age him because I don't think he's that old.
Yeah. Well, he was also in Supergirl, and
was he?
Cool. He played John Jones's father.
Okay.
So he was the Martian Manhunter's father, and he did not look nearly as old.
Yeah, I thought they
made him look old in this.
But he was just terrific and heartbreaking, I thought. But just a talented man. And I'm glad he was in Supergirl. I'm sure he's done other stuff I haven't really quite followed too closely. But really talented actor. And it was awesome to see him. The first episode he was in, I was like, oh man, tell me he's in more of this because I really do like him. And I was glad to see him in more episodes because I think he was in pretty much the rest of the show.
Yeah. They included him in there.
Which was really great. But now, so we had the action from one show and then the quirkiness from the other show. And then you put them together. And I think
you get Loki.
With like a dash of just like WTF, which a welcome of WTF. Loki is a different beast, I think.
Here's the thing. I was not expecting as much awesomeness from this show when I saw it first get announced.
It's quirky as hell, I think.
Yeah. Like I think we joked when we saw Avengers Endgame, when we were in the theater, we're like, and there Loki now disappears at Disney Plus. Because it had been announced that he was going to be doing Loki, the show, and he was going to have a spinoff. We're just like, wait a minute. He died in the last one. How the hell is he going to have a spinoff? And then when we got to that scene in Endgame where he takes the Tesseract and falls in. We're like, and now he is transported to Disney Plus. And sure enough, first episode, that's exactly what happens.
Well, fun fact. So I was very behind on the Thor timeline.
Oh, really?
Catching up to do. Yeah. Well, I never saw Ragnarok.
Yeah, you said you didn't like it.
What's that?
You said you didn't like it at the time.
No, I never saw it, Brian. I saw Ragnarok. No, I'm not kidding. Like in the year of our Lord 2021, like I saw Ragnarok like June of 2021. I never saw it. I did not see it when it came out in theaters.
I think John saw it and he didn't like it.
He didn't like it.
And I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I missed the train to see it in the theater, because occasionally, even before the pandemic, I don't know what it is, but sometimes being in a theater makes me anxious.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I would opt out, and since he didn't like it, I didn't see it, and then just never caught it. So I didn't see it. I forking loved it.
It's great.
I loved it so much.
It's Taika Waititi at his greatest. Like, honestly, the man is comedy.
He is. And I think that it worked so well because it really lightened up the character of Thor, like the full way. And I think that that's when Thor functions best, because after Ragnarok, I watched, I watched Ragnarok and then Loki. And then I watched the first Thor movie. I had a hard time getting through the first Thor movie because I was like, this is really boring.
Well, here's the thing is Chris Hemsworth had said that he was ready to hang up being Thor after Dark World. And,
wow.
Yeah, he was ready to be done with it.
And I haven't seen Dark World yet.
You don't want to see Dark World. You don't want to see Dark World. It's not very good. Natalie Portman gets some red goo in her, and that's it.
Are you sure that's the right thing, or are you sure you're not going to have a different channel?
I'm not joking. That is actually what happens. She gets red goo called the ether. It goes inside of her. I'm not joking when I say this. She becomes possessed by the red goo.
Isn't that the life stone that Rocket tries to take out of her later?
Yes, that is exactly it. That's the red goo. That's why it's funny when Rocket says, "Hey, I got it," and he sneaks in with some very phallic looking thing.
Yeah.
Awkward. Very awkward.
Well, imagine my confusion at the beginning of Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd never seen Ragnarok. I had no idea what was going on. None whatsoever.
Yeah. My point was, I was getting across was that after Ragnarok, Chris Hemsworth said that movie kind of revitalized his interest in the character, because he realized it wasn't just Shakespeare in the Park. It was something that could be funny. And I think that's honestly what, best works for Thor, is when he is hilarious,
Oh my gosh. And that whole movie, like, I think that the humor's so intentional because like that beginning when he's turning around on the chain, he's like,
wait a minute.
My backstage. My favorite, because that's what heroes do. And he throws the ball at the window and it hits him in the face. Yeah. It's funny every time. I've actually rewatched the movie like a couple of times because I just like having a movie on when I'm doing something else. Yeah. Every single time. It's funny. I'm waiting for like the novelty to wear off and it hasn't yet. It's so good.
It's great. It's great.
Every time. It's so good. But I loved Ragnarok. Because I think too, like I do really like Taika Waititi. I loved What We Do in the Shadows. I thought it was brilliant. And I mean, even though it's like very different, I also really like Jojo Rabbit.
I haven't seen that yet. I know it's on my list of things to watch.
I'll be curious for your take for sure. Yeah, because there's some elements to it. Again, like a healthy dose of WTF. Mm-hmm. But back to the WTF at hand. How nice was it to see Owen Wilson in something? I did not expect gray hair. I was like, because I saw like a screen grab. I think that the one of them in the elevator that you see like pretty much all the promotional stuff right now. And it's like the main screen grab, I think, like on Disney Plus of the two of them in the elevator. I couldn't place him at first because he's gray. And I was like, who is that? I was like, that guy looks familiar. And then I obviously opened his mouth. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's Owen Wilson.
He still got it. He still got it, though.
He's like kind of a more watered down version of, every character. He is, but it kind of works.
Are you saying he's only got one speed? Is that what you're trying to say here?
Listen, the speed works. It's like Christopher Walken. He's like, either you want this or you don't. And that's fine. So
everyone wants Christopher Walken. So, I mean,
if you've got a good thing going, like, why not? But, I was surprised to see him in this. And something else that I thought was really cool. I've noticed in the credits after a lot of the Loki episodes, mostly women written and directed. Yeah. And I think that this is so interesting. I was debating this with a friend. Written for television. It still says written for television in the end credits. And
that is interesting.
Right. I think that's fascinating. And my friend could appreciate my enthusiasm for this, but didn't quite understand why I thought it was so fascinating. Because I mean, this is never going to be, I mean, this is on a television maybe, but never on a network.
No, this, I mean, honestly,
it's all digital. It's all digital.
It's all digital. And I think the thing too is like these sorts of shows could never work on television, traditional television, where you've got a commercial break. No one could ever stand for that. Like, honestly, they just don't work. They only work for this platform. But you're right. It is interesting to see that even despite all that, they still have no problem putting written for television.
Yeah. And I just wonder when we're going to get away from that language or that instinct, And I mean, some shows, they seem ridiculous now when you watch them on DVD because they were written for a commercial break, and you have like the cliffhanger and the music, and it fades to black, and then it fades back in, and you're like, oh, that's where the commercials were. But, I just thought that was so fascinating, written for television. So I feel like, so we're 4 episodes deep on Loki.
Yeah.
There are so many Easter eggs. There are so many little things just everywhere.
So I guess my question is how much do we divulge?
I don't want to give a ton because the whole season isn't out. I don't want to give a ton away. If we want to talk about the rest of the season when all 6 episodes are out and spoil the shit out of it later, I feel like we could give 2 episodes to Loki. It's that good.
Let me ask you this, and since we're not going to divulge everything, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What are our predictions about the rest of the season? What are your predictions based on kind of what we've been seeing so far?
I have no fucking clue. This show is nuts. I mean, I would not have predicted hardly any of this stuff. I mean, and I'm not a big spoiler looker either. I mean, like, I'll look up stuff like after the fact usually, but like, I mean, I had friends that predicted that the one character was going to be, damn, this is hard without spoiler. I had friends that made accurate predictions
Really?
in certain terms of the main variant.
Okay.
They were correct in in what was presumably the twist.
Yeah.
And I had no clue. I didn't know what we were going to find when that hood dropped. I didn't know.
No.
So I have no idea where this goes from here, because honestly, like, at the end of last episode coming into this one, I just thought they were effed. I was like, no idea.
I at the same time, the cynic in me looks at the number of episodes left and goes, they're not dead. They're not effed.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's the cynic.
Well, I think that's the writer. Let's say that's the writer in you. The writer in you. Too. There was, but I have to say too, it wasn't as satisfying as I thought, because they were just kind of bailed out. I thought for sure that Loki had one more like rabbit in his hat to pull out, but
no. I mean, I don't know about that, but I mean, I don't want to give too much away about this week's episode yet either.
So the first episode, we kind of like understand the situation Loki's in.
Yeah.
The second episode, we kind of dig into his glorious purpose,
which he has none.
None. And then the third, we kind of really get into the mystery of the episode, and we find a few conclusions.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one, actually, I think is my favorite so far, because it was so character driven, and in a 6-episode series, that can be risky because there was not a lot of action. But I feel like we needed last week's episode for this one to really set sail.
I agree.
And then there was a big epiphany in this week's episode of something that we did not think Loki was capable of, that causes a lot of issues. Now, my understanding is that this series is setting us up for the Doctor Strange movie.
That's my guess.
Because it's Doctor Strange and the blah, blah, blah of the multiverse.
No, that's the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And technically, WandaVision also sets up that as well.
Yeah, because she's going to be in it too, right?
She's going to be in it too.
Which is so great, because
supposedly the Spider-Man movie also deals with the multiverse.
Okay.
Yeah. You're like, I don't care about Spider-Man.
I'm just like exhausted with Spider-Man. Like, there's been like 5 in my lifetime, and I don't give a fuck about any of them.
There's a theory that all 5 of them are going to show up. So,
I did like that animated one.
That's kind of what they're.
Miles is my Spider-Man. We'll call him my Spider-Man.
I guess for me, I want to give some predictions on this. So
if you have one, I mean,
my prediction is
fine, but this show has blown my mind. So like, I have no idea
my whole thinking about the whole without spoiling everything, the people we're dealing with here are Loki, the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and then a variant.
That thing this week, damn! I yelled at the TV so much this week, and by TV I mean my laptop because that's where I watched it this week.
Yeah, but my theory is that the Time Variance Authority is actually being run by Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, look at you with the Marvel knowledge.
Kang the Conqueror is supposed to be the next Thanos.
Okay.
So the next big bad. His whole deal is conquering time and conquering time periods, and he wants to basically control all of time. So it makes sense that he would build something like the TVA to, in essence, do the dirty work of conquering time. So that's my theory. And actually, there have been people who've said that Kang the Conqueror actually is one of the timekeepers that was referenced in the kind of the cartoon version that they had in the first episode, explaining what the Time Variance Authority is, that he is actually one of those timekeepers. So my theory is that this is all leading to revealing that Kang the Conqueror is the one running the Time Variance Authority, created it for the purpose of conquering all of time. Which will lead into Doctor Strange.
That makes me feel better because I really don't know much about the comics or anything like that. I don't have a lot of background information, so I can't really make any predictions based on any other knowledge.
And ultimately, my prediction for this series is that the TVA gets kind of destroyed. It's revealed who Kang the Conqueror is, and that gives us enough of a launch pad to go into Doctor Strange.
I'll tell you, it's an unpopular opinion, but Doctor Strange is one of my very favorite Marvel movies.
I like him. I don't really care for the female lead in that film.
Rachel
Christine. Yeah.
No, I mean,
she's kind of.
Well, I actually like her, but I didn't think they gave her anything to do.
They didn't give her anything to do
when a mop fell. That was a shame.
They didn't. They were just like, oh, react to Ghost, Cumberbatch. I mean,
they could have done more with her character for sure. Yeah. But I just thought it was like visually very different from the rest of the Marvel universe. I know we did a episode where we ranked them all, and I don't remember where I put them now.
Not sure.
I don't remember, but for me now, Captain America, the first one, and Doctor Strange are two of my very favorites of all of them, for sure. But I don't know where we go from here because so many crazy things happened in this last episode of Loki, honestly.
I think all the Lokis take down the TVA. That's what I think happens.
Yeah, well, and I think too, I think Tom Hiddleston is having so much fun. I think you can tell he's having a great time. I think he's great at this character. I think he's really comfortable now in this role, and I think that we're in a good place with the character where we're kind of like getting past what could be one-dimensional. Yeah. Because like, I mean, the God of Mischief, right?
And he was very one-dimensional, honestly, in the first Thor movie. I thought he was kind of just,
Yeah. And we've trod here before, where he's, a backstabber and in it for himself and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like we've kind of gotten a few glimpses of that, like past that. Yeah. I think that the moments where we've seen how he cared for their mother, I think that's been significant. And where he does have feelings inside, I think that that's been important and interesting to note.
That is the one thing I will say about Dark World, even though it's not the greatest of Marvel films, and I would say probably the low point for the Thor franchise. It does give us hints at a more three-dimensional Loki, and gives us a lot of what we're seeing now.
Yeah, I might still watch it just for like the Loki ramifications, just to make Loki more enjoyable, honestly, because the way we're flipping back and forth through time as well, the way that it's set up, like honestly, I feel like they could do anything in the universe at this point, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like that kind of does cheapen things a little bit. Like sometimes the stakes aren't as high when like death doesn't mean what you think it does.
Yeah.
So that, I think sometimes that can be kind of a shame when, you know, when you see somebody die or when you see something happen to somebody and you see like later you're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. They didn't really die. Yeah. But
and Marvel films are notorious for that, right? They're notorious for no one really dies. It's always a life model decoy. I mean, that's what the comic books do.
Right.
Everyone's a life model decoy who dies. That's what actually happened to Captain America, was a life model decoy that got assassinated in the comic books. But I mean, it's interesting. I really like the idea of making some finality with the Loki that we see through the films, and then kind of introducing us to another version of that has not yet kind of learned those lessons that we see. And it's interesting to see that the person's still the same. It's just the circumstances are changing that person's perspective. I think we're actually getting a more altruistic version of Loki in this show than we've ever seen in any of the films, even in Endgame and Ragnarok.
Well, and imagine like you watch some of your life, you just watch it and you don't live it, you know, because there's always that, oh, well, would you go back if you could, like in time, but you never say like, would you watch the next 5 years if you could?
No.
Do you know? I mean, but like that's never like that's never the hypothetical question,
right?
You know, it's always could you go back? But like, I mean, Loki literally
watches his whole life,
like 5-10 years of his life, and it's like, what the F, basically, you know. And I think that's fascinating because he has the benefit of knowing these future experiences, and he doesn't get to learn the lessons firsthand, but he also doesn't die.
Well, I think it more or less just gives him an understanding that one, his path of the trickster who's going to rule all of the universe or Asgard or whatever is really a fool's errand, and honestly that he is capable of so much more that is not necessarily in ruling everything. You know, I think that's what that first episode honestly is meant to do, is kind of say, Loki, you're destined to fail on that, but that's not your path. You have a better one.
It's literally the most perfect illustration of fuck around and find out, right? He doesn't have to fuck around. He just finds out.
Yeah. Basically.
I mean, it's kind of nuts.
Basically.
But but I think it's really well done. I think that the effects are quite good.
Yeah.
I think they're spending that Disney money appropriately.
I'm just glad I mean, I might be wrong. They might have the same people who did Black Panther, but I hated Black Panther's effects. Love the movie, but I hated the visual effects that were done on it.
Like what ones? The suit was great.
The suits were terrible.
You love the suits?
Well, here's the thing. They had made these beautiful suits. They had made these beautiful suits for Black Panther, but instead they just replaced it with a CGI character. The scenes where they're falling, the color doesn't match. The scenes where they're in front of the waterfalls, you literally can see that they're flat plains. It was lazy. It was lazy. And those same people ended up doing Endgame and Infinity War. Like that same company did Endgame and Infinity War. So I know they are capable, but my guess is they might have had either their B team or C team do Black Panther, and the rest of them are all working on Endgame and Infinity War.
I see.
But I just know that so far the effects on this have been really awesome.
We'll put in some replace tweets because they just started filming the second Black Panther this week.
I don't know how they're going to do that, but
I don't either. They said that they're going to make Chadwick proud, but I don't know.
I'm glad that they're continuing it because that character does mean a lot to people of color.
I heard that they were going to do it like CGI with his face. That's what I'd heard. I don't think from an artistic.
I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if I like that at all.
I mean, that's what I heard, but I heard that. I mean, maybe like possibly right after Chadwick passed away.
Yeah.
I think Shuri should be the next Black Panther because I love her.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
I agree.
It makes me feel happy. But
so, Laine, where can they find Loki at? If they want to watch Loki.
So Loki is available on Disney Plus, y'all, and it's worth the uptick for $7.99 a month. It was $6.99, but it's worth it. it's worth it. I mean, even if you watch like just one movie, I think it's worth it. Not that I'm getting paid by Disney Plus. I wish.
No, we already said on the main show that we said that Shudder can pay us money.
At this point, Shudder probably should pay you guys.
They should.
But
yeah, new episodes drop for Loki every Wednesday. We've only got a couple left, so it's interesting to see how the whole thing plays out. 2 left.
And don't make the mistake of waiting until midnight like I did.
No, don't do that.
I don't think it even drops at 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. I have no idea when that shit drops. It's not midnight, and I fell asleep very pissed off. 1 week. That was, I think, week 3. I was very grumpy.
Awesome. Well, I think that was a good first episode. Laine, where can they find you at on your social medias? Be it
good Lord.
Be it the TikToks or the Instagrams or the Twitter.
I haven't been on Twitter in forever, y'all. So if you
don't use Twitter, then.
I mean, you can. I never check it anymore. I am at _Lady Laine _. And if you want to Lady Laine TikTok, I have 2 TikToks up there for you.
I'm got like 2 TikToks up there.
Yeah, I'm a youngling now.
You're also running the Psycho Show TikTok now.
That's true. That's true.
So you're gonna get us into the 21st century. You got what?
I got to come up with some frosh content for y'all.
Frosh.
Oh,
okay.
You guys can see how much he hates me on the videos now, guys. It's so good.
I've become old. That's what it is.
I'm old too.
No.
No, Brian. Okay, really quick before we wrap up.
Yeah.
It occurred to me yesterday that on my next birthday, I will be as old as Lady Diana was when she died.
It's crazy.
I needed to lie down for a second. It was not okay. There. I was not okay. Like face down on the carpet, lie down. I needed a timeout.
Oh, geez.
Rest in power, Lady Di.
There you go. Way to end the first episode of this little from the concession stand on that end there.
I am. The Time Lords made me.
It did. Well, with that said, you can find me at Brian Conthouse over on the Psycho Show page. Check out our full-length episodes on all of the areas where you can get any audio that you download. So Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts. All of our episodes come out mostly weekly. I try to aim for weekly. And be sure to like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network, epicastnetwork.com. Also, check us out here on YouTube. Okay, as again, part of this is on YouTube at /Psycho Show. So if you like this sort of content, you want us to do more of this, let us know. Let us know what ideas you want us to cover from the concession stand. If you do have a favorite movie or question you want to throw our way, contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. And always subscribe and follow us wherever you get your audio. And we will see you all next time.